Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, or as John Campea calls me, your existential Mr. Rogers, and I am sitting in what will be the new Robservatory. This is the first time I've made a mailbag here at my new locale. Obviously, you can see this is a work in progress. As you know, during the John Campea Show, we accept live super chats that we will read on the show as we're broadcasting. But any other time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, you can go to streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. That's right, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you can send us a question, a comment, anything you want feedback on for the mailbag. And that's the way you do it. You go to streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. And it's also right down there in the description. And of course, I love doing these because I don't know what you're going to say. So let's see. We're going to start today with Matt McClure sends in a tip. And Matt McClure says, Ezra Miller arrested again in Hawaii, Tuesday, April 19th. Time is a flat circle. Well, Matt McClure, yeah. Listen, I don't know what to say anymore. I just hope that Ezra Miller gets the help that he needs. Clearly, I don't know if he's troubled. I don't know what's going on. I just hope that Ezra Miller gets what he wants because I love him as a performer. I think, he really blew me away in The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and I really love his take on The Flash. So hopefully he'll get better and not get arrested anymore. 1.21 Jelly Watts sends in a tip and says, Hi, John and or Rob. Hey, it's me, R.E., the Blair Witch reboot. I am totally down for an A24 style reboot. You know what? I don't think you're wrong there. I would not mind seeing something like that. I just don't know how they do it. The first Blair Witch captured something that we hadn't seen before. It really became a zeitgeist movie. Became one of the most ripped off movies in cinema history. So how do you create something comparable? I don't know. But I want to see it. I'll be curious. I mean, they have a tough act to follow. I'm not going to deny. I mean, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I'd love to see how. And I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest. Black Frost sends in a tip and says, Aviation Gin, Mint mobile ads. He comments on your Twitter posts. Ryan Reynolds is secretly your BFF, isn't he? Show name suggestion, Screen Time. I like Screen Time. I don't know if John will like that. That's not bad. You know what? I can't speak to Ryan Reynolds being John's BFF. I'd love to know Blake Lively, his wife. I think not only is she an incredibly beautiful woman, she's a very talented actress. And if you haven't seen it, she was in a wonderfully beautiful movie called The Age of Adeline would you be surprised to know that I own it on Blu-ray? And if you get a chance, check it out. Harrison Ford is in it also, and it will warm your heart. But Ryan Reynolds, hey, I'll say this for him. He makes a fine gin. Garden Variety Vagabond sends in a tip and says, one of two. John, Netflix has lost subscribers in quarter one for the first time in 10 years, 200,000, and they expect another 2 million in quarter two. Is this a Ukraine issue, 700,000 lost in Russia, a Netflix specific issue, or a symptom of a market choked with too many streaming providers? Number two, Garden Variety Vagabond goes on to say, so in a business sense, their number of sold widgets is down 220,000. Their profits are also down 6% to 1.6 billion, but their revenue was up 9.8 for the quarter over the year to 7.8 billion. So down in the US and Canada, Russia, and up in India and Japan, stocks fell after hours by 20%. Look, you know what? To be honest, I think this is just a correction. It's part of where things are going. I personally believe that Netflix should stop looking at necessarily at growth, and so should investors. What we need to do, or what Netflix, I think, in the long run needs to do, because as I've said on the John Campea Show, the amount of subscribers on planet Earth is a finite resource. Eventually, in every country in the world, there's only going to be so many people that subscribe to Netflix and whatever other streaming service is available when they can actually get internet and that it's stable enough to stream. So what they need to do, I think, is figure out a way that they spend a certain amount of their subscription dollars on new content, that they produce themselves, or they acquire new content from around the world, and they make it so their company has a sustainable, profitable model, because eventually they're going to run out of growth. And because there's only so many people in the world, I mean, there's always going to be more, in our population on a planetary basis is growing, but they need to figure out how to make the maximum amount of profit by spending enough money where they can make new programming, but they're not spending so much money. I mean, $200 million movies doesn't seem the best way to maximize your profit, even if you have something like a Red Notice with Gal Gadot, Ryan Reynolds, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So I think it's all part of a continuum. It'll be interesting to see. Look, this happened. The sky is falling today, but I think in a week or a month or a year, things will shake out. I'd still invest in Netflix. Chloe Fanning sends in a tip and says, in The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship, in the scene near the beginning where a now famous car scene happened, what was the chances that you, Rob, was driving that car? Thinking I'm late to the set. Laugh out loud. Just kidding, Rob. Bring on the filthy. I was not there. As a matter of fact, when I was in New Zealand working on the Lord of the Rings special features, I never drove a car. It wasn't until I was there for 14 months on and off working on Chronicles of Narnia that I ended up driving a car, because they were on the other side of the road. And it is hard. It is tough to learn how to do. And I did that. I had a car in New Zealand on Narnia, and then in Australia when I worked on Superman Returns. Primal Fear, which is what I like to call the movie. I like to call Primal Gear if you're talking about the Ed Norton movie. Ed Norton and Richard Gere, I call it Primal Gear. But Primal Fear says, hello, John. Ezra Miller did it again. TMZ reported Tuesday he got annoyed after being asked to leave a friend's home and was accused of throwing a chair that struck a 26-year-old female on the forehead, leaving her with a half-inch cut. What are your thoughts? Don't throw chairs at women. If you have anger issues, it's probably best not to do things that can wind up with an assault charge. Just me. Just me. I'm just saying. Not a good look for anyone, really. Just saying. Garden Variety Vagabond sends in another tip. Said, gone in a flash, the life and career of Ezra Miller. They were arrested in Hawaii again for assault while refusing to leave someone's house. Enough is enough. Warner Brothers has to do something. Well, here's the thing. I agree, but Warner Brothers is someone's employer. Other than saying we're not going to employ you anymore, what is an employer supposed to do? They can point a person in a direction, but it's up to Ezra Miller's friends and family, I think, to intervene, and Ezra Miller himself. Warner Brothers is just a company that's employing him to make movies and pay him very well. So, I mean, look, I agree they should probably do something and step in. It's the right thing to do. It's the human thing to do. But it's just, it's very, very frustrating. I really want to see The Flash. I feel bad, not just for Ezra Miller himself, but all the people that he's victimized, of course, and all the people that worked on the Harry Potter movie, on Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore, and The Flash. I mean, you're talking about hundreds and thousands of people that are employed on these movies, and all of their work is compromised by their stars' bad behavior. And not much of an excuse there. Ethan Holgate, 1 of 5. Hi, John. Rob. You guys mentioned Blair Witch getting rebooted recently. You also brought up how bad Blair Witch 2 was. I haven't seen it myself, so I can't comment on it, but I recalled an interview I saw with the director of that film, Joe Berliner. He mentioned his experience making that film was so off-putting that he has a director's cut that's locked in a vault at Lionsgate that he's requested for many times for them to release, which they haven't. He mentioned that if someone were to take the existing version of the film and removes all the gory recreations that were shot against his will, he mentioned there's a scene in the movie with the tour guide and the stars of the movie that are being interrogated by police that was all completely intercut throughout the movie against his will. It's studio interference. I'm guessing he said that it was intended to be an 8-minute scene at the end of the movie as a reveal. He said that would have been his cut, and he wouldn't have minded if people liked or disliked his actual idea. He said what's worse is having your name on something that wasn't entirely your doing. But since then, he's gone on to do great things like the Ted Bundy movie, documentaries, and so on. I thought this was interesting. Well, Ethan, Here's what's really it's really interesting in Hollywood. Obviously, to have the power of final cut to oversee your work as a director and be the final arbiter of what is and isn't supposed to be in the movie is a very powerful thing indeed. And when you don't have that, and the studio, I mean, you're being second guessed by a studio that may or may not have people that really know what they're doing. And when they don't, it is an incredibly difficult thing to do. I myself experienced something like this. My movie, Free Enterprise, behind my back, my producers, the movie did not sell right away, even though it was winning awards. And they went behind my back. They took my movie, they cut 20 minutes out of it. It was incomprehensible, and they tried to sell it. And they couldn't, because the problem was not really the movie itself. It was just a lot of people didn't quite get it, or for whatever reason, it didn't sell right away. It was winning festival awards. It eventually did sell because a distributor went and saw the film with a film festival audience, and it blew the roof off the house. But, you know, second guessing movies, sometimes it works, a lot of times it doesn't. And it is a really, really, really painful experience, especially to see a movie that you as the filmmaker know doesn't work. And you wonder, why do people, I mean, the studio, they're all trying to save their own ass so they don't lose any money. I totally understand where they're coming from, but if they don't like the film, I really think that a studio needs to work with the filmmaker. In very few instances is getting rid of the filmmaker something they should actually do. We saw what happened with An American History X, or the famous Battle of Brazil, where the head of Universal wanted to get rid of Terry Gilliam and recut the film. Look how that turned out. There's 3 versions of that movie. Thankfully, Terry Gilliam won in that battle, but it is, I don't think, ever a very good idea to do this. So, I mean, now that you bring it up, I would love to see that version. Maybe, since they're making another Blair Witch, we could get the director's cut of Blair Witch 2. Why not? But maybe not, because it made no money.
Guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. You know, the one with the delightful ads with good Canadian kid Ryan Reynolds. So look, after years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, is that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't a catch. And guys, that's no joke, because for years I've been using one of the major providers and it was fine. But I switched over to Mint Mobile a little while ago. The service has been fantastic. And the big difference is I'm now paying about 1/3 of what I was paying before. And the best part for anybody who just hates their phone bills is that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea.
Chloe Fanning sent in this tip and asked me not to read it, so I am not going to. Jonathan Namila sends in a tip and says, "Hey John, I have a show name. It's Hip, It's Now, and Wow Show." It's Hip, It's Now, and Wow Show. I don't know if John will like that, but that's kind of fun. I kind of like that. Ideas for a new show name sends in a tip. One of two: The Roundup, Screen Central, The Daily Take, Bring on the News, Inside Hollywood, The Daily Screen, Worth a Shot, Into the Screen, Frame by Frame, The Upload, That's a Wrap, The Screen Report, The Recap, Around the Frame, The Daily Watch, Screen Hub, The Hollywood Circuit, The Wrap Up. None of those are bad. I don't think any of them grab me, though. It's got to be, something like Entertainment Tonight. Obviously, we can't use that, but I always thought that was a great name for a show. There was a show when I was growing up called That's Hollywood. That was a pretty cool show. Easy. It said everything you needed to know. The thing is, Around the Frame, I understand where you're going with something like that. I like the idea of that, but when we talk about like Netflix stock earnings and things like that. It's got to, I don't know, there's something, the daily screen could be worth a shot. I kind of like that. Obviously, it'd be up to John. I don't know, but I think it's like something that's it's like pornography, or it's something that's indecent. We'll know it when we see it. We'll know the name when we hear the name. But some of those are pretty good. Some of those are pretty good. Lieutenant Hicks sends in a tip and says, "Hey, John and crew, yesterday when we brought up cameos for the Obi-Wan series, I was curious, what's the over-under for specific characters? Maybe Tarkin, Emperor Palpatine. Thanks, guys. As always, bring on the filthy." I think all bets are off. I think people like Palpatine and Tarkin, they're out there. They're part of the universe. It really depends. I mean, I could imagine seeing scenes with Inquisitors where they are reporting to Palpatine or Tarkin, or who knows? I mean, maybe Krennic. You just never know who could show up on these shows because they're all out there. They're all working. I kind of hope they shy away from, if they have those characters make an appearance, I kind of want to see an all new show. People can reference Palpatine, they can reference Tarkin, but it wouldn't bother me if we didn't see them. Although I understand how it could be cool if, in fact, we did. Thought He'd Talk, funny name, sends in a tip and says, "Hi guys, I'm seeing everybody excited for Strange 2, but we've been burnt by MCU before. What if X-Men won't be in the MCU and this movie will destroy them in the MCU once and for all, and Marvel is planning a non-related movies similar to Batman and Joker?" Well, that could be true, but I just can't believe that. I mean, we're almost 30 films into the MCU, and I think that the X-Men, obviously we're getting Xavier or we're getting Patrick Stewart. Wanda Maximoff is a mutant. So is Quicksilver. I think, yeah, they were called miracles in Age of Ultron, but we all know they're mutants. They are mutants. And I think that, so we've already seen mutants in the MCU. It just hasn't been codified yet. We will see what happens. I mean, I don't necessarily believe that we're going to find out what happened to mutants in Multiverse of Madness beyond what Xavier might say. I don't think we're going to have, look, I would love the idea that Wanda brings back all the mutants and they were zapped away. I don't know if they're going to do that in this movie. That might be a little too out there for the 4-quadrant movie-going audience. I mean, I'd love it, but I don't think that they're going to get rid of them once and for all. Everybody wants the mutants. I think nobody wants mutants more in the MCU than Kevin Feige does. And I'll tell you something. However they're going to show up, he already knows. He knows. He's known for a long time. Just like if you read the 2-volume coffee table book about the history of Marvel that's out, the MCU, they've been developing a Moon Knight movie or a Moon Knight series for a long time. So I think they already know how the X-Men are going to come in the universe, and I think we'll find out. I don't think they're going to get rid of them entirely. I think we're going to see mutants in the MCU. Anonymous sends in a tip and says, "With Ezra Miller's second official arrest," I know, can you believe that? With Ezra Miller's second official arrest, it's starting to look like jail or institutionalization is going to happen sooner than later. How do you think WB should handle this going forward? Will it be swept under the rug? What would you do? Well, I don't know if he's going to be institutionalized, but I think clearly someone's got to give him a stern talking to, because there's a lot of money at stake, and I'm also worried about him. I mean, clearly something's going on with him, and he's hanging out in Hawaii. Maybe he needed to blow off some steam and have some rest and relaxation, but this isn't a good look for anyone. And how would I handle it? I mean, look, if I was the head of the studio, I'd call him myself. I'd be like, if I was David Zaslav, I would have been like, "Yo, hey, why don't we, let's talk about this, man. Let's talk about it. And find out what's going on with him and what could I do." Toady sends in a tip and says, "Hi guys, do you think that if Hugh Jackman returns in Doctor Strange 2, it will be a one and done appearance, or will he reprise his role for future films as Wolverine? He's such an important character in regards to telling the story of the X-Men and the MCU." No, I think it'd be one and done, and I think the Wolverine that we're going to get is going to be totally different. Totally different. Because Hugh Jackman's, in his 50s now, and I think that Wolverine's just too old. I think we're going to get a new one that's more comic centric. Banu Prakash, that's a cool name. Hi, John and crew. First time tipper, long time viewer. Oh, please try SS Rajamouli's RRR. It's an Indian action fictional drama based on real life freedom fighters. Please try and watch it in Telugu, as it is the original language. You won't regret it. Okay, Banu, let me tell you. Everybody's buzzing about that movie in film circles over here. Chris Gore from Film Threat talked about it. If you guys are wondering what, there is a new Indian film called RRR that is totally worth checking out. You got to check this out. The trailer is bananas. It's 3 hours long. It looks amazing. It is playing here. Like, people are talking about everything everywhere all at once. But I do think that we need to remember to tell everybody out there, look out for a movie called RRR. And Banu, I agree with you. I've heard that it's only going to be shown in its limited time in Telugu. Is it Telugu? Is that the right pronunciation of the language? And then it's going to be in Hindi or something else, but everyone's saying see it in Telugu. I would like to do that. It looks amazing. The trailer looks fan-fucking-tastic. So I really want to see it. Thanks for bringing it up. Jerome, Tallulah's out there. Jerome says, on the subject of movies and TV shows ceasing to exist, I had many straight to VHS movies when I was a kid, but as an adult, I can't remember most of them, and the ones I do remember, only a few are on streaming and physical media. Thoughts? Well, Jerome, I've worked on a few. Some direct-to-video movies were finished in NTSC format at what we used to watch, not HD, not Blu-ray, not 4K. So a lot of them have fallen by the wayside. I the first movie I ever edited, although I'm credited as an additional editor, but we were actually the editors of the movie, was a movie called Arcade that Full Moon made. It starred Megan Ward, Seth Green, Peter Billingsley, and it is available on Blu-ray, but it's an upscale. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, some of these movies are going to be lost forever because they were not finished at full NTSC resolution. I mean, they were only finished at NTSC resolution video, which means they don't exist in HD, and unless they go back to the negative, which is usually too expensive to do so, we'll never see them again. You're absolutely right, and it's a bummer. It is a bummer. Jerome goes on to say, also, I notice how several canceled shows or shows from past decades are not even available to buy on streaming, with some not even available on VHS, DVD, or Blu-ray. Why are some shows not available to buy or watch if whoever is reading knows? Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of TV that has sort of disappeared to the sands of time because it wasn't successful for whatever reason, and it's a total bummer. And we might never see them again. It's just like I think like 70% of the movies made before 1930 are gone. And it's a damn shame. But there's really look, the only way you're going to see these movies again is if there's some way to make money on them. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of call for TV shows that didn't do very well or disappeared, even though there's some great shows out there. Maybe somebody will start a channel of failed programs. But the very idea of it is kind of weird. I mean, I understand why it's kind of hard to expect it to happen, but it kind of is, unfortunately. It's kind of a bummer. Luke, I am your plumber, says no movie club next week. I'm already spoiled to it. I love movie club, thank you. But it would be awesome to see Ann, Chris Carr, and Aaron Cummings to do a movie club one time. I would love to see them do Forrest Gump or Big. Thanks, have a great day. Luke, I'm your plumber. That is a great idea. I would love to see Ann, Aaron, and Chris do a movie club about Big. That's Ann's favorite movie. I think that would be a fantastic movie club. That would be awesome to see. I don't know if it will happen. I don't know how John feels about that. I don't know how Ann or Aaron or Chris would feel about that, but I would love to see it. I think that's a really great idea. I love it. Russell Amador sends in a tip and says, hey, John, let's talk about Gore the God Butcher. This being will show Thor the responsibility that believers have with gods at some point. In return, Thor will understand the responsibility of a god to protect those through the realms. It's going to be a journey for these two. I love that idea. That's a great idea, Russell. I can only hope that that's exactly what happens in this movie. I think that's a great idea. I'd love to see that, to be honest. I hope that's the direction the movie takes. We'll see. We shall see. I love it. War Doctor 10 sends in a tip and says, "Hi, John and crew. Just wanted to clarify my question from the other day. I was referring to Hydra Steve Rogers, not the Walmart version we got in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Also, over or under 50% we see Mace Windu in Ahsoka." Well, that's good. Thanks for clarifying that. I appreciate that. I didn't read that question, so I will just thank you for clarifying that. But in terms of seeing Mace Windu in Ahsoka, I'd love that. I'd love to see Mace Windu come back. I'd love to see more of Mace. And it makes sense. It makes sense. We shall see. That could be very, very cool. Moon Knight Hippo sends in a tip. Ezra Miller began his attack on Hawaii when Moon Knight aired, and he probably just destroyed his entire career halfway through. I wonder if he'll be blacklisted by the time the show ends. Oh, I hope not. I mean, I don't want to see Ezra Miller's career destroyed by Moon Knight. The Egyptian gods are taking their revenge on some sin we don't know he committed. That would be a bummer. I hope that doesn't happen. But that's damn funny. Grapes. Oh, Grapes. Grapes sent in a very generous $50 tip. Grapes, thank you for that. Thanks for supporting the channel in this way. Grapes says, "Hi, John. First-time tipper, but I've been watching for about 9 years. Wow. Before my tenure. I've only known John for 7. At this rate, is dropping The Flash on HBO Max instead of ditching it completely an option for WB? Thanks, everyone." Well, Grapes, I'll tell you. A studio is beholden, obviously, Warner Brothers, to its shareholders, and I think we're a year out. I think that everyone loves a comeback story. If Ezra Miller's Robert Downey Jr. days are over, he can definitely make amends, apologize for what he's done, and when The Flash comes out, maybe the movie can be released theatrically. I don't think releasing, I guess, let's say it's a $150 to $200 million movie on HBO Max is really, would be an effective way to maximize your dollars when it comes to that particular film. I think the movie, if it's good, I mean, Andy Muschietti, he made the It films. It Part 1 made $500 million for the studio. So I would imagine they are going to release it theatrically. They're going to have to figure out what they're going to do. They're going to have Ezra Miller apologize for his behavior or explain what's going on. I have a feeling we don't quite know all the facts yet. We only know what we've seen from a distance. And I would hope that perhaps that maybe we don't know everything that's going on. At least I would hope. And I want to, again, thank you for supporting the channel in this way. Bob Chapek's Barber. You guys, you're cheeky today, and I love it. I'm there for you. Can we declare 2022 to be the year of Ethan Hawke? He's fantastic in Moon Knight, but look at what he's got coming this year. The Northman, The Black Phone, Knives Out 2. Hawke must have the best agent in Hollywood, and this success is well-deserved. Well, Bob Chapek's Barber, I think that, people like him. People like Ethan Hawke. From what I understand, he's a good guy. He's good to work with. And I love seeing a performer. I mean, obviously, he gives it his all. When you watch Ethan Hawke, he does a great job. And so I think his success is well-deserved. And, yeah, absolutely. But I love where you're going with that. It's not just his agent. It's him. It's him. But I'm sure his management, both his agent, his manager, his lawyer, they all play a part. And he's obviously got a great team. And he's in great projects. He's even a novelist. He's written novels and stuff. I'm a big fan of Ethan Hawke. And he's had a long career in Hollywood. He's had his ups and downs. But it's great to see him back in a big way because I really enjoy what he does. Anonymous says, John, another Mailbag viewer recently pointed out that some great shows with DVD releases have never made it to digital. 2 recent examples, The Secrets of Isis and The Greatest American Hero. Also, Phantasm for the new show title. Ooh, Phantasm. I like that title. I don't think John will like that title. Thanks, John, to bring on the filthy, but I like Phantasm. 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 I mean, Phantasm's one of my favorite horror movies, so I just like the word. But I'd love to say that on the next issue or the next episode of Phantasm. I like it. As for your question, Warner Archive has put out ISIS and Shazam. Did they put out Greatest American Hero too? They might have. But yeah, the problem is those shows, they only might have DVD masters, or they have NTSC masters, so they haven't gone back and remastered those shows in HD, which is a very expensive process. I mean, if they have cut negative, it's easy to do, but who's going to pay for that? And like the Secrets of ISIS, they probably only have NTSC versions that were on broadcast television. So that's the reason that they exist only on DVD. And there's probably a reluctance to put them on streaming because they can't put them out in HD, and they just don't look very good. And it's a problem with a lot of old TV. Unless a studio is willing to put the money in to remaster them, that means rescan the negative at 4K or at 2K, we might never see those shows in HD again, which is a bummer. It is a bummer. HV3 sends in a tip and says, Netflix has ordered an Exploding Kittens animated series that follows the eternal conflict between heaven and hell as it reaches epic proportions when both God and the devil are sent to Earth in the bodies of chunky house cats. I'm in. I know, despite what John Campea thinks of cats, I grew up in a cat household. My mom's a crazy cat lady. I mean, she's not a crazy cat lady living with 10 cats, but she has, I think she loves cats more than she's loves her children, you know what I'm saying? So that sounds good to me. I completely will watch that. I love cats, and this show, so there for it. I'm so going to watch this show. Why not? Dacky sends in a tip and says, hey, John, I follow the creator of the Netflix show Kippo on TikTok. And he said that Netflix told them that when you turn this in, we will never make the show again. Is that true? I don't know that show, but oh my God. That doesn't sound very motivating, but it's show business, not show friends, I guess. To quote the great Bob Sugar from Almost Famous. Actually, not Almost Famous. That's another Cameron Crowe movie I love. Bob Sugar was the character, of course, that Jay Moore plays in Jerry Maguire. And he says, it ain't show friends, it's show business. True that. So I need to watch Kippo now just to support. I didn't know that show. Wow. So I'm in. Count me in on that. Reamer Bulldog. Hello, Reamer Bulldog. Hey, John and Rob. The Thor teaser is the best teaser the MCU has ever released. This movie could easily be the best comic book movie of the year. It was absolutely fantastic. I'm like super excited for Thor, Love and Thunder. Thanks for bringing on the filthy. Well, Reamer Bulldog, you know what here's what I loved. The teaser was a lot of fun, first of all. I thought it was great fun. But I liked the idea that the movie actually is about something. A superhero movie about our character of Thor, God of Thunder, who's on a journey of self-discovery. I think that is that's a really great story. It's always a great story. Any character that's on a vision quest or is looking for themselves or trying to find meaning in their lives, I'm a sucker for stories like that, and I can't wait. So, I just really want to see it. I think it looks really great. I think Hemsworth is having a ball. I like that it looks like it's going to be bonkers. And Taika Waititi making this movie, I think he learned a lot from Thor Ragnarok, which I very much enjoyed. And I think this movie is going to be wildly entertaining. And it's going to be about something. And I'm there for it. I love this idea. I can't wait to see the movie. So I'm hoping it's going to be good. Is it the best teaser that the MCU's ever released? Well, I'll leave that up to other people to decide, but I do think it is damn good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Reamer goes on to say, a week ago, I was for sure that Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, will be the better movie. than Thor: Love and Thunder, and after seeing that teaser, I changed my mind. Thor will be the better movie, but they're both going to be great movies in my opinion. Well, I think that's the best part. If they're both great movies, then we all win. To me, comparing and contrasting, comparing and contrasting. I don't know. To me, movies are all different, and I know that we all want to rate our favorite MCU movies, but I think Thor wants to do something very different from Multiverse of Madness, and I want them to be equally entertaining, but perhaps in different ways. And I'm there for it. I think both movies look to be wildly entertaining, and if they are, in fact, wildly entertaining, then, hey, we all win, which I love. I love that we all win. Whoever wins, we lose. No, whoever wins, we win. So I think that's great. Our last question on this short mailbag, Jared says, is it time we considered that this Moon Knight is a variant, meaning this entire series is happening in its own universe? That would then open the door for a new version of the character and actor to appear in mainline films without rehashing backstory. Jared, that is a fascinating theory. I would say, though, probably not. Only because Oscar Isaac is such a great actor. I mean, he's a movie star. And I don't think that Marvel would lay out a whole show, even though it's only 6 episodes, for a movie star, for somebody of his acting prowess and his caliber, and make it an inconsequential variant. I just don't think they would do that. I do find your idea intriguing, however. But I do think that this, being the Moon Knight lover that I am, I have to believe that it is genuinely Moon Knight. I think that we're going to find out in the final 2 episodes. I've often said that what we have seen, hey, maybe exactly what we've seen is exactly what's happening. But I think the whole show, we can't take it at face value. I think that it's going to be revealed what's actually happening. I think it's going to be really interesting to find that out. So I'm definitely there for it to see how that's all going to go. But I do think that what we're seeing is not a Moon Knight variant, only because if you look into the Jeff Lemire run, there's a lot that they're touching on there. And I think that when we see what happens, it's going to be quite surprising. And I'm very excited for it. But I don't think this Moon Knight is a variant. I just don't think so. But you never know. Who knows? Well, that does it. That is the end of the short mailbag. I want to say thank you to all of you out there who send us tips, to give us great things to talk about. If you want to send 24/7, 7 days a week, if you want to send us a tip to be read, for why? Well, for why? Because you give us something great to talk about and you support the channel when you do so. You can go to streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip and send in your question. And if we deem it appropriate, hey, either I'll read it, John will read it, or we'll read it together. I promise you, next time you see the Robservatory, there'll be stuff around here. But it's kind of like an unfinished movie set. Kind of. You get a little look behind the curtain. I look forward to seeing all of you next week, coming at you from CinemaCon with the whole team. It's going to be so fun. We're so excited. Vegas, baby, if you're a Swingers fan. The movie Swingers, of course, that Doug Liman directed. That stars and was written by Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn, of course, in a star-making performance. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But thanks to all of you. My name is Robert Meyer Burnett, and unlike John Campea, you can follow me on Instagram at RMBurnett. Find me on Twitter at BurnettRM, or find me on my own YouTube channel, The Post Geek Singularity, or postgeeksingularity.com. There's a website. You can send me a letter also anytime, day or night, free of charge. But thank you all very much for supporting the John Campea Show mailbag. And I guess, as always, I guess I shouldn't say this, but why not? I usually say every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. All you have to do is listen, or I can just say what John Campea says. Bye-bye.